New York City has always been this wild crossroads where cultures collide, ideas clash, and everybody tries to shout louder than everyone else. But lately, it's becoming something way more intense, like the front line of a brand new American civil conflict. Not blue state versus red state. Red state. Not even classic left versus right. What's bubbling up now is a straight-up showdown between federal authority and these far-left city governments acting like mini countries inside the United States. And on December 7th, the anniversary of Pearl Harbor of all days, we got a moment that showed exactly how deep this clash is getting. A 33-year-old socialist Meyer-elect jumps on camera, looks directly into the lens, and basically gives 3 million illegal migrants a cheat sheet on how to dodge federal law enforcement.
No nuance, no coded language. Just, here's how you avoid ICE.
And this guy, Zoran Mamdani, thought he was doing some kind of heroic resistance video. But he seriously miscalculated, because within hours, not days, not weeks, hours, the Trump administration fired back. And what they unleashed sent a very loud message to every far-left mayor from Portland to Chicago. You pull a stunt like this, the federal government will steamroll right through your city limits. So, let's lay it out. Mamdani won his campaign by promising he would make New York a Trump-proof, turning it into the sanctuary capital of America. And he wasn't kidding. Before he even stepped into office, he was already giving instructions to illegal migrants about how to stay under the radar. It's like he couldn't wait to pick a fight with federal law enforcement. And the thing is, this isn't just some random political disagreement. This is part of a much bigger pattern that's been building for years. Victor Davis Hanson, one of the smartest historical analysts out there, calls these sanctuary cities the Blue Confederacy. Why? Because they're literally imitating the same secessionist mindset that sparked the Civil War. They're claiming they can ignore federal law inside their borders. They're acting like nullification is back on the menu, and they're doing it proudly, openly, almost daring the federal government to respond. Look at cities like Portland, Los Angeles, Chicago. They've been saying for years, we don't recognize federal immigration now. Already here. You've got governors like Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker and mayors like Karen Bass encouraging resistance to ICE. And in some cases, they've even allowed far-left groups like Antifa to physically interfere with federal operations. Antifa has basically become this unofficial militia used to obstruct immigration enforcement and create chaos whenever Washington tries to do its job. This video wasn't a one-off moment. It was just the latest escalation in this neo-secessionist movement. The left accuses the right of threatening democracy, but these blue cities are the ones actively undermining the constitutional order by pretending federal law doesn't apply to them. And that's the exact kind of behavior Abraham Lincoln had to confront the first time this happened. Here's the constitutional bottom line. The Supremacy Clause says federal law always wins. Always. State laws, city ordinances, none of that matters when it contradicts federal authority. So if a city mayor tries to block ICE, promote resistance, or tell people how to evade enforcement, he's basically acting like a secessionist governor from the 1860s. And if you take that analogy seriously, that casts President Trump as the modern Abraham Lincoln, the guy whose job is to stop this from spiraling into something worse. And Trump did not hesitate. As soon as Mamdani's video started circulating, the administration responded with absolute clarity. Okay, you want to defy federal law? Watch this. Border czar Tom Homan came out swinging. Not with vague threats, but with promises. He said ICE operations in New York were about to intensify dramatically. More officers, more teams on the ground, more enforcement actions. And these weren't empty words. By the time he said it, teams were already deployed. Then things escalated even further. Homeland Security and the FBI rolled out a first-of-its-kind task force in New York City. Something the city had never seen before? It's designed to target transnational criminal networks, gangs, drug trafficking, human smuggling, all the stuff sanctuary cities tend to ignore or downplay. Okay, this task force pulls in everything. Homeland Security investigations, the FBI, U.S. attorneys' offices, state agencies, local law enforcement. Even though it's technically separate from ICE, HSI is part of ICE, so the collaboration is massive. In simple terms, Trump activated the full federal machine and dropped it right into the heart of New York City. Any hope Mamdani had of turning Nick into some anti-Trump fortress basically evaporated overnight. And you can already see the impact. ICE launched a huge multi-agency operation across the city with 29 enforcement teams. And in just one day, they arrested nearly 4 dozen illegal migrants, way more than their usual daily average. The message was loud and clear, a sanctuary city or not. Federal law is coming in. And of course, the legacy media threw a fit. But that's predictable. They don't report reality. They report narratives. They're activists with press credentials. Millions of Americans have figured that out, and it's why trust in the media is tanking. Now, here's where things get even deeper. People keep saying America is heading for a civil war, but they picture some giant North versus South thing. That's not what modern conflicts look like. A bit of comparison is Colombia's civil war between 1948 and 1958. You had radical urban mobs on one side and armed rural populations on the other, clashing in the suburbs that connected them. And honestly, when you look at what happened during the BLM riots, cities burning, activists marching into suburbs, rural militias forming roadblocks, the similarities are impossible to ignore. But something new is shifting the ground even further. The rise of leaders like Mamdani and Ethan Omar, people elected by heavy migrant populations, is creating what Elon Musk called the post-American divide. But he pointed out that Omar was elected by a huge Somali migrant community in Minnesota. Mamdani was elected by a district where the majority of voters weren't born in the US and California. Musk said straight up that the demographic changes there are turning cities into a communist hellholes. And whether you agree or disagree with him, the demographic reality is undeniable. Big American cities aren't just becoming more diverse, they're becoming politically foreign. Entirely different cultural norms are reshaping voting blocs. People who didn't grow up under American institutions, who don't share foundational values like federal authority, the rule of law, free markets, or even the Electoral College, are now choosing leaders who actively want to dismantle those institutions. The message coming out of these cities, basically, we're not really part of the old American story anymore. We're building something new, a post-American society, and we'll elect people who will help us do it. And that is why Trump is focusing deportation efforts on places like New York, LA, and Chicago. People kept asking, why target blue cities so heavily? Well, now we know. He's going after the areas where this American vs. post-American clash is the strongest, the places where demographic shifts are producing leaders who flat out oppose the federal system itself. He's trying to stop a cultural collision that's already happening inside our borders before it becomes an irreversible fracture. Because if cities start behaving like independent nations and the federal government loses authority inside its own territory, that's not politics anymore. That's the recipe for national collapse. And if Trump manages to reverse that, if he stops this foreign political movement from overtaking major American cities, if he reigns in sanctuary states and reasserts federal authority, then yeah, history is going to rank him right up there with Lincoln and Washington. Not just as a president, but as a national stabilizer. If today's breakdown hit home for you, you'll probably love Turley Walks. It's a free preview of the Courageous Patriot Club where we dive deeper into stories like this, talk about faith, family, and freedom, and build a community that actually cares about the future of this country. It's totally free. Just go to turley.pub, Turley Walks,